Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andrew Seekers, and we're again joined by Derek Bittner to rediscuss Sonic Boom and everything we know about it. So let's get right into it. Alright, Derek, well it's been about almost a month. We're coming up on a month since Sonic Boom was first shown off. And we already did a discussion, I think like within half an hour of that being shown off. So, you know, we've learned a little bit more about the game since then with a behind-the-scenes feature and of course year 2 analysis. And we've just had time for the whole thing to kind of settle in. So I wanted to, you know, go back over and just rediscuss our thoughts on this game, you know, now that we've had time to, you know, reflect on it and, you know, and have found out more about it. So first, I guess, where do you stand on this whole thing now? I know you were excited originally, based on what more we've learned and what more you've dug up on it. What do you still think of this game?
I'm still excited for it. The new designs have sort of sunk in, and you know, I'm fine with, you know, completely now. You know, I never had a problem with him in the first place, other than Knuckles was a little weird, and Knuckles is still a little weird. Yeah. But you know, it doesn't bother me so much. You know, the whole fact that this is just a side thing. This is an American-only game. Right. Like, as I did some research and found out that this is not coming to the Japan at all. So this is an American exclusive. So yeah, it's interesting that they went in this direction. And just looking at everything that I've seen and uncovered with the analyses, I think it looks great.
When it was first unveiled, you know, I told you, I'm like, these character designs look dumb. but even by the time we did the analysis, like, I was already starting to come around on most of them except for Knuckles, and I'm still basically that way. Like, I actually really do like most of the character designs now. I think they actually do. I think they look fine. Knuckles is still weird. Still not totally sold on Knuckles. I feel like they could definitely improve him. Like, I think it's more, you know, I mean, of course, you know, with his huge torso, it just looks weird in conjunction with his face. So I feel like they either need to, you know, change his body or change his face. One to the two. Something needs to change to make him look more normal in proportion. But putting that aside, I'm actually really excited for this game. Like, going back and watching the trailer, the unveiling trailer, like, I almost forget it's a Wii U game. Like, I actually think, no, for some reason there actually seems to be some debate about this online. Like, people who think the trailer looks either good or, you know, subpar. For me, I think it's perhaps the best looking Wii U game out there. Like, I'm almost amazed every time I watch that and I see the Wii U logo come up at the end. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Wii U game. It just looks it just looks great, I think, visually.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I think it looks really good. The character designs seem a little rough. I've seen people compare, like, there's that one rotation scene where they're getting surrounded by the robots.
That's definitely the funkiest looking scene, I would agree.
Yeah, the characters they almost look like claymation, according to a lot of people, which I have, you know, I can't really deny that. They do look a little off, but otherwise, the environments, you know, just them in motion, that sort of thing, it looks really good. I mean, this is, once again, this is from people who worked on Naughty Dog before, and Naughty Dog is known for eking out every just inch of horsepower out of a system that they work on. Their games are some of the most beautiful on the system.
Oh yeah, Uncharted 2 still looks great.
So it's, you know, just, there's a level of graphical quality here that is already evident, and you know, they still have, you know, upwards of 6 to 8 months and 9 months, because I really do think this is coming out this fall, probably October, November sometime, and that's a lot of time to polish and get things ready, and they've already had like 2 years to work on this, so this is probably going to be a really good looking game.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the environments, and I think that actually is, you know, more than anything is what stands out to me. I didn't even pay that much attention to the characters. It's really the environments that stand out and just look, you know, I think they look just fantastic. You know, whether it's the scene with Sonic running on the water, or, you know, even better would be the you know, what little we've seen of the hub world. You know, with, you know, that with the building, with the antenna, and then just all the shrubbery, and, you know, just the density of, you know, the forest there just looks great. Yeah, like I said, I think I think the game looks fantastic, and yeah, I can't wait to see what else they can do, you know, in the time up to release. So now, speaking of the environment, though, that does seem to be kind of like one of the big things with this game, is in how that's going to play. You know, because most of the previous Sonic games have been pretty, you know, have been more linear focused, you know, with, you know, fairly tight level designs. And, you know, we discussed this a little bit before in our previous analysis, but after, or sorry, in our previous discussion, but after your analysis, we can kind of see how it's all going to come together a little bit better. And it really does seem like they're aiming for more of an, open world type thing here. I mean, not quite an open world, but like the hub's going to be more open, and then that will then branch out into other levels or paths, if you want, call it that way. And we were talking before recording this, and you were equating it to probably like Jak and Daxter, which makes sense given their pedigree. And I'm actually really excited for that, to see that. As I mentioned before, I've always wanted to see like more open areas in a Sonic game, and that's kind of what we're getting here. Yeah, so I mean, what do you think about all that?
No, I mean, Jak and Daxter is one of my favorite games out there, and the way it handled, like, it was a big deal when it came out at the time. The fact there was no loading screens between levels, it was just all very smooth transitions to get from one place to another, and each world would have its own sort of hub, but different areas you would go to would basically lead into a kind of level and sort of funnel you along and make it just seem that much more like a complete world. And it seems like that's what they're going for with Sonic Boom, which is, I really like the idea for it. Really want to see like what they can do with it. I mean, these seem pretty vibrant. And the little screen with Knuckles, where he's climbing along the wall, you can see the background with all the rings and the way it's set up and whatnot. You can see how you, playing as Knuckles, you would get through that section and play along the level, and it seems like it almost either curves or something happens, but there's a good bit of space there, and while it might be a little bit more focused, it does seem to have a bit more of a width to it.
I guess when you do mention Knuckles climbing and focused, I do have horrible flashbacks to digging for emeralds, was it, in Sonic Adventure 2, I think?
Yeah. I mean, his dig moves back, but I don't think they're going to have him digging up emeralds this time. So.
Well, right, because it looks like it's almost a form of transportation, or maybe not a form of transportation, but like it's used for like locomotion, as opposed to before where I think he would just dig in place and then come back up. Like it was just a very dull mechanic. Yeah, I'm not getting that sense here at all that they're trying to duplicate that, which is good because those levels are terrible. Yeah, so you mentioned the characters, and it seems like they're all going to have, their own traits here. We see, of course, as we've discussed before, Knuckles, it appears can like climb around and dig up things. Amy's got her hammer. Then I guess that leaves a question though of Sonic and Tails. Like, I mean, of course Sonic runs fast, but we can see everyone else can too this time. So what's he bringing to the table? And well, then Tails can fly, of course. So it really is just Sonic. As far as I can think, we didn't have any particularly unique abilities.
Well, you're kind of wrong.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. That's all right. No. Sonic, that's always been the question with Sonic, is that, Sonic runs fast, and, what makes him stand out from all of his friends who usually run fast and do something else. And that's always been, that's happened a couple times where people just like wonder what's the point of Sonic at that point. And that's why they slowed down some of the other friends throughout some of the games. To try to make Sonic feel much more special, or in some cases just not have any friends at all.
Right, so what's the deal here?
But looking at the trailer, his homing attack is back.
So you think he's the only one that has that?
Oh yeah, I think he's the only one that has the homing attack. I think he has a higher sense of speed. He's probably the only one that can run on water. He probably has a lot of other just purely unique features just to him. I mean, he's probably the only one that can potentially spin dash. I brought this up in the analysis how you see him in his ball form as he's bouncing up that one ledge, and we don't know if he spun dash into it and had a boost of speed from that, or the pad that he's going onto made him curl up immediately and boost him up that way. So it's sort of unknowns of what Sonic is able to do, but I think the homing attack itself is probably pretty makes him pretty unique and different from the other characters.
Well, so basically you're saying he's going to be more action focused than the others, it seems.
Yes, I think he's going to be able to maintain that speed that he has during running sequences, while the others will run fast. Tails, obviously, when he starts flying, isn't raising up that fast. compared to Sonic when he's going up that same ledge.
That's true.
Knuckles, moves at a decent clip, but again, walking along the wall, climbing against the wall, he's moving a little slower. Amy, we see a little bit of, but it's mainly acrobatics they show off with her, swinging along the pipe and her combat where she's spinning around.
Right.
So we don't quite get a good look at that, but still, I think Sonic's main standout feature is how he's able to just quickly go do everything and keep up a certain amount of pace.
I'd say that would make sense. The reason, yeah, the combat thing makes sense. The water thing, I don't know if that. I could see the other characters being able to do that too, but that seems to be purely a function of speed. So they all can run the same pace. I don't see why none of all of them would be able to run on the water too.
Mm-hmm. To me, that looks like something like there seems to be some character-specific areas, and I think that might be a Sonic-specific area.
That could be. That absolutely could be the case.
Especially since he's by himself in that scene, doing his own thing, and so he could potentially be running faster than we think he is.
No, I guess that actually raises an interesting question: is if that is a character-specific area, how is this going to work exactly? Especially with there being co-op, presumably, where you have people have different characters with different abilities. In the same area, presumably. I wonder how they might make that work.
That's probably the big question here: is how exactly multiplayer works. There's questions like that where it's you only see the one character, and it's seems that's all they're doing. There's no other characters in sight. Other times we see them working together in tandem, and other times we see them all four together, and it's very difficult to tell exactly how it's going to work, whether it's going to be different for single player, whether it's going to, how far away people are going to be able to go. I've not quite seen something like, you've never really seen a multiplayer game of Sonic,
right?
In this way. There has been multiplayer, like Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 had multiplayer modes. All we've had is sort of like a second player controlling Tails, but the camera never focused on Tails. Mm-hmm. The player just had to struggle to keep up and maybe help out. He was invincible. He would die, but he would catch up later and be able to keep helping. And this is completely different. I don't think they're going to keep that same system because it never made for a very fun co-op mode, and it's not like in Sonic Lost World where you have somebody controlling airplanes and not actually the character. So once again, they don't matter. It's very interesting to see how it'll work, and we have seen some glimpses. Once again, we've seen all the characters either in pairs or in the one scene where Tails is shooting his laser, we see Sonic doing his own thing, but then Amy standing in the foreground, not really doing anything. Mm-hmm. And then even just from this behind the scenes video, there's a very small clip that shows them walking through what we believe to be the hub. And Sonic makes a very harsh, very direct right turn, and all the other three characters snap into place with him. Like they just immediately, as soon as he turns, they turn.
Right. So that brings back memories of Sonic Heroes.
Yes, where it was a sort of formation, and this was the first time we've seen him in a formation, with just walking,
right, and
sticking so close to one another. So I'm not quite sure how to work. I think the common theory, and I think this is the one that makes the most sense to me as far as how it could work, is something like the Lego games, mm-hmm. where you just push a button and you immediately take control of one of the other characters, and the other ones just get taken over by the computer. And then when you have more people, they control the other ones, and the computer takes control of whatever ones are not being used. And you can just swap between them to see what you want to do and keep active that way. It makes the most sense to me, but going off the single trailer that we've had and the little clips here and there, it's impossible to say for sure.
Yeah, you can't really tell, and they've been a little vague in how all the on the details of this. I'm sure we'll find out more in the coming months. I am curious to see how they're going to make all of that work, however. So one of the questions about this game is, what's the story going to be? I don't think we know much about it, aside from, maybe what you point out in the analysis, how in one scene we can see this giant statue of what appears to be an echidna, maybe holding a ring. So I mean, it suggests there might be like a history to, or I mean, as we can tell, there seems to be a history to these levels. In fact, they even say that in that behind the scenes feature. So it looks like there's going to be some depth here, and I'm wondering if the TV show, might help. Is going to fill in some of those blanks maybe with what we're lacking knowledge of in the game so far.
It's difficult to say because the TV show it takes place after the video game. So, and it's just from the little clips we saw in the behind the scenes, it seems to be a lot sillier. I mean, they said it would definitely have some action, but it doesn't. There seems to be a much harsher tone in the video game trailer, while the TV show trailer was very light and bouncy and fun and all that good stuff. Both aspects I like in this case, but as far as plot, I think they're definitely tap into the resource that of Knuckles being the last echidna and doing something with that. They have said that Eggman is definitely in the game. It does not seem like he will be the final villain. Mm-hmm. They said the main villain would actually be someone a bit, darker and more threatening and have a bit more presence to him. And people are already... I've seen a lot of people like, could it be Shadow? And I think why he might show up, I think it might be a little too early to put him in right away. But it would be an interesting twist. And I understand why they wouldn't make Eggman the main villain, because you defeat Eggman and all of a sudden he's there every week in the TV show.
Right.
That
would be kind of weird.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Although, I mean, but then there's the fact that he appears in every game anyway, though, despite getting his butt kicked in the game before.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? I mean, you don't want to have. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. The other thing is that what's very interesting to me about the TV show itself is that they had some conversations with the showrunners in the behind the scenes, and one of the showrunners actually worked previously on The Simpsons and Pee-wee's Playhouse, which is a heck of a pedigree.
That is, yeah, both of those shows that I was a big fan of growing up. I think that makes sense considering they've said they're going for try and make this more of a comedic type show. Even we can even hear some of that in the script when we see the voice cast doing their giving their voiceover. So that's cool. I think. I mean, it actually seems like they had a mission for both the game and the TV show, and they're bringing people on board to fulfill that, or I don't know which came first, the people or the mission. But I mean, either way, it seems like they're really getting a core group of people for both of these to really. I don't know. It really seems like both these projects seem like they're really putting all of their effort into it. Like they're really, it just seems to make sense with who they have working on these things.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the other thing interesting to me is they actually. Replaced the voice actress for Tails, who's been with the series ever since Sonic Colors. She's the new. There's a new woman playing him, and her name is Colleen Villard, which I did a little bit of research on just to see, because I'm a big fan of voice acting. I like to see what people have done, hear the voices.
Sure.
I appreciate it. But it looks like. She previously worked as Sora in the original Digimon, Jazz Fenton in Danny Phantom, Ino in Naruto, and then video game-wise, Genis in Tales of Symphonia. So there is a bit of a pedigree there. These are some characters that are fan favorites. I've heard many of them, and she does a good job. And honestly, I didn't even realize the voice actress changed because they were so close to what I'd been hearing with Tails before.
Yeah, I didn't pick up any difference. I mean, not that I'm the biggest Sonic fan anyway, but
yeah,
it all sounded competent to me. I like the voice acting in Sonic Colors, so I'm glad to see that they're not changing most of that, and the fact that Tails apparently doesn't have any perceivable difference is totally fine by me.
Yeah, and the only thing I'm a little worried about, and I think just this little clip from the behind the scenes made me feel a little bit more at ease. I couldn't stand Amy's voice in Sonic Lost World. And that's weird. Usually I'm very forgiving with that sort of thing, but she sounded so much like Minnie Mouse. So squeaky. It was just like, when I'm thinking the 4Kids voice actress did a better job, there's some trouble there, and the voice actress is still the same. But from the little clip we heard of her, she doesn't seem to be delving quite as much into the Minnie Mouse side of things. She's not quite as squeaky. It seems just a much more natural female voice.
That's good, because even Minnie Mouse gets on my nerves. So, yeah. So if they're fixing that, that's good. So do you have any final thoughts at all, Derek, on, Sonic Boom, the TV show, the game, or even the characters' looks? Anything we didn't cover at all that you wanted to bring up?
Not really. I just, I'm really excited for it, and I gotta say, I've actually, ever since putting together that little special video at the end of the second analysis,
your music video trailer thing?
My music video. I went back and watched the original. I like mine better.
It does work well. Yeah, it's almost hard to go back to the original. Yeah. I think I should watch it with the sound off. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm actually really excited for this game. Like, they're doing something new, and as I mentioned before, I think it's beautiful. I think it's perhaps the best, or the most visually impressive Wii U game. To the point, as I mentioned before, it basically doesn't look like a Wii U game, which I think is the best compliment I can give it, visually at least. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more, and I'm guessing we'll see more at least by E3. So there is that. Alright, and that wraps up for our discussion of Sonic Boom. Thanks guys for watching. If you liked our discussion, please make sure to check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. We post all kinds of things there. It's a good way to keep up to date with everything we do. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Sonic Boom and other things gaming as well. Okay, thanks for watching guys. Bye.